Welcome to another Tango tutorial. Today we'll be discussing the basics of the ICSR. The ICSR stands for the Integrated Condition Status Report. This report displays all the condition entries associated with the database and provides condition entry details, linked documents, number of cases and entries, provides the ability to check off and close cases, and shows past closed condition entries. Please note that if the user region is limited for a user, they will only be able to see the regions that are assigned to them in both the location tree and the ICSR report. Let's start by showing the two ways to access this report. The first is the ICSR menu button. By clicking this button, the ICSR will generate a full list of condition entries for the entire database if the user has access to all user regions. The second option is to run a filtered ICSR by location. Start by navigating to the location in the tree. Click the drop-down menu next to the location and click ICSR Report. For example, if we navigate to this unit, click the menu option and select ICS Report. The ICSR will only display the condition entries associated with all the locations under that unit. Users can filter at any level in the tree for a more detailed report. This method is also recommended for databases with a large number of condition entries because it will decrease load times and reduce system lag. Notice that a filtered ICSR will display the locations above the charts bar. Now that we have a report open, let's take a look at some of the features. We will start with the pie charts on the top. Users can minimize the charts by clicking the charts header. The first chart displays the max case severity, which means it will only display the total number of cases open and will indicate only the highest severity level in each case. The chart is divided up by severity levels. The severity colors are designated by the facility or the owner of the databases. So what is a case? A case happens when there are condition entries against a location and another condition entry is added to that location. In other words, if a user creates a condition entry to a motor and the motor already has an entry, Tango will ask the user if they want to continue the case or create a new case. The users will continue the case only if the problem is related to the first entry. If it is a different problem, a new entry must be added. The second chart will display the total number of condition entries open in the current report. Note that if the ICSR is filtered, it will only display the total number of entries for that filtered location. The next report is the Process Status Scatter Report, which will be discussed in the Advanced ICSR tutorial. Now that we have looked at the charts and the reports, we will discuss the user interface of the ICSR. The red action buttons at the top of the list will provide features and information details, which I will briefly discuss, but will cover in greater detail in the Advanced ICSR tutorial. The first button is the Output Formatting or Filtering button that will allow users to arrange the results by column information or other filters. The second button is a column information which indicates how the ICSR is generated. These can be modified, but only by 24/7 systems. The third button is the Refresh button, which, as you would expect, refreshes the ICSR to reflect any changes that do not refresh on their own. The last button provides more options for users to filter, import, or export ICSR data. The filter text box on the top right of the list will reduce the list to show only the matching fields. The filter will affect all the columns, but will only start filtering after the second character has been entered. For example, if we only want to see the entries that are associated with the 170 compressor room, type 170 in the filter box. As you can see, the list will only show the 4 condition entries that are under the unit level 170 compressor. To remove the filter, remove the data from the text box. Another way to do a quick filter is by clicking the header of the columns that are highlighted in blue. By clicking the header once, it will arrange the column by alphanumeric order. Clicking the header a second time will flip the order. A blue arrow will indicate which column is filtered. The default ICSR list is filtered by the severity header, so to return to the default order, click on the severity header. Now that we know how to filter the list, let's talk about what each column represents. We will only discuss the columns that are part of the default database setup. I will discuss all the columns available and what they mean in the ICSR Advanced tutorial. The first column, which is untitled, is the severity level indicator. All databases will have their own sets of colors designated for the severity level. While this demo database colors are salmon, yellow, magenta, and beige, your database may be green, blue, yellow, or red. No matter what colors your database is set up to use, the highest severity, meaning the most problematic entries, will be displayed first. By looking at the indicator, users can quickly see what severity levels they are working with. The second column is the Locate in Asset Tree icon. By clicking this icon, the asset tree on the left will open to the location in which the condition entry is associated with. Only by viewing the condition entry from the tree location will the users be able to view, edit, or delete the entry, if the user has proper permissions. This is one way to view the entry. The other leads us to the next column. The severity column will show the highest severity of the condition entry case. By clicking on the severity, the condition entry case details will open in a separate tab. The case details show all of the details about the entry or entries and provide the ability to complete several functions. The first line displays the locations where the entry is assigned and will allow users to locate the entry in the tree. In order to see the locations, users will have to switch back to the original tab in the browser. Next is the equipment type, which displays the type of equipment that is installed in that location. If a physical piece of equipment is not installed, an anonymous piece of equipment will have to be a placeholder in order to add a condition entry. Next is the diagrams associated with the location. Diagrams are linked documents that are assigned as an asset diagram to the asset component location, or on the asset level above the location. Users also have the ability to add a diagram by clicking the green plus symbol. The lifespan chart is designed to display the case timelines so that the users can view when each case item was added and see their severities. The next section is the condition entry details. Most of this is self-explanatory, but there are a few things to note. First, linked documents. By clicking the linked documents will open in a separate tab. Linked documents cannot be added from this report, but can be added by editing the condition entry from the location tree on the left. Second is the work order request and the work order number assignment links. Click the assign link and a pop-up prompt window will allow users to add the appropriate information. Once the value has been entered, click the OK button and the information will be displayed on the Details report. The Details report link will also open a new tab with a printable version of the condition entry report. The status comments are displayed next. By clicking the green plus symbol, users can add status comments to update the progression of the condition entry. Area of responsibility and corrective work code options are only available if the database is set up to receive this information. If they are available, users have the ability to add a user or user group that is required to take the next actions to correct the issue, as well as the ability to set a corrective work code with the expected repair time frame. Linked documents that are images, such as JPEGs, PNGs, bitmaps, etc., will display as thumbnails. By clicking the thumbnail, the linked document will be displayed in a new tab. The checkoff button at the bottom of each condition entry will allow users with the proper permissions to check off or confirm that the issue has been corrected and needs to be tested to confirm that the entry can be closed. Once the user clicks the checkoff button, they will be asked to add a checkoff comment and click Save. Notice that there is an option to check off the entire thread or just check off the individual entry. If yes is checked, all cases will be checked off. Once the entry has been checked off, users will now have a couple more options. If cost tracking is activated for the database, users will have a link to add cost tracking information. We will discuss this option in more detail in another tutorial video. The last item in the Details report is the Close button. Once you click the Close button, the condition entry will be closed and will no longer be displayed in the ICSR except as a recently closed item at the bottom of the report. Now that we've discussed the Details report, let's jump back to the columns. The next columns in the default ICSR will be the asset and asset component locations. By clicking the header to filter these columns, users will be able to sort the entries by the locations. The next column will display the technology type the condition entry was created by. A days waiting checkoff column will display how long the entry has been open in days. Clicking the header will toggle the values from most to least or least to most number of days. When the entry is checked off, checkoff will be displayed. Work order status displays how many entries have been checked off out of how many entries are associated with a particular case. Work order number displays the work order numbers for one or all of the entries in that case. Created by displays who created the condition entry. Latest status comment shows the last comments added to the last condition entry in the case. And the last column in the default ICSR is the case closure column. Once all condition entries in the case have been checked off, a Close Entry button will be visible. By clicking the button, all entries in the case will be closed and sent to the Recently Closed section, which leads us to the last section of the ICSR, Recently Closed. Any condition entry that has been closed within a certain number of days will display here, allowing the users to locate the entry in the location tree. If the user has proper permissions, they can undo both the closure and the checkoff status of the condition entry if they were found to be completed prematurely. The number of days in which the recently closed will be displayed is determined by the facility in the Tango Database Administration page under the Condition Management tab by clicking the Condition Management Configuration link. Thank you for watching this video tutorial.